I will call the Government Oversight meeting of November 16th to order. Since it is a new meeting, first and second item is Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item is adoption of the agenda. I have a motion by Commissioner Romano, supported by Commissioner Nard. Any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Next item is approval of meeting minutes, Joint Government Oversight Records and Public Safety Committee minutes dated October 12th, 2022. Motion to approve.
So moved by Nard.
Support Van Sickle.
I have a motion by Commissioner Nard, supported by Commissioner Van Sickle. Any discussion on the meeting minutes? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Next item is our first of two, public participation. This public participation is for agenda items only. The second opportunity for public participation is those for which to speak on any given issue. So anybody want to speak on anything on the agenda? Yep, we were looking right at you.
Any clarifications, any point of order clarifications we need to get out of the way first? Are we good? We're good? Okay.
I hope not.
No. Thank you, Commissioners. Brian Harrison with Advisacare from Rockford, Michigan this afternoon. Was thankful to make it over. The roads were clear and in good standing. Just wanted to say thank you guys for allowing us to be on your agenda today in regards to the 2019 auto insurance resolution to support an amendment to provide a sustainable fee cap for home health care. We do believe that without your support, there would be less of a chance of getting something done in a small lame duck session, so we are grateful for the opportunity to discuss this issue with you all today. And we're here, again, as a resource. If there's any thoughts, questions, concerns, when we get to that part of the agenda, I don't know if I'm able to, but happy to be any of assistance or support if needed. I know we've said quite a bit over the last several meetings, the last several months, and having families and others join and discuss some of the challenges that providers and families have been facing as a result of a good faith effort by the legislature to correct some things with our auto insurance, and seemingly there was some unintended consequences. And so we're still believing that there could be some fixes to those, and allowing for a sustainable cap to make sure that drivers now injured in an auto accident have access to home health care should they purchase that part of a policy. So again, thank you all for the time. It's been wonderful being here, and I look forward to discussing the matter today and then hopefully being on your agenda meeting for the 23rd. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for your continued education on this issue and participation. Anyone else wish to be heard on agenda items?
Hello, I'm Jason Groth, co-owner of First Call Home Health Care in Clinton Township, Michigan. I'm up here for the same reasons as Brian Harrison, and he spoke more eloquently than I do, or I will. But we are also looking for support for the resolution that you guys are going to discuss today and hopefully be put on the next agenda. Macomb County, it's time that we go on record with our state that you guys support the businesses that are in Macomb County that provide these services to those that are injured. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard?
Hello. I'm April Brown with Advisacare. Here about auto no-fault resolution. I want to speak on the fact that there are now 44 counties that have sent this resolution to Lansing. So we're over halfway there, and I believe well over 70% of the population is represented in those counties. I had a meeting yesterday with a post-2019 auto no-fault survivor. Unfortunately, her husband and mother-in-law passed in the collision. She was left a paraplegic, but because she's post-2019, the appellate court and the Supreme Court ruling does not help her. I like to think she's young. She's about my age, and thanks for not laughing. But she's now living in assisted living, over an hour from her home. She used to live within 5 minutes of her grandchildren and her children and saw them every day. It's been 3 months since she's seen one daughter because she works a midnight shift. The grandkids now FaceTime her to play games over FaceTime. They move the pieces because grandma's hands, and they have the game, everything there. And I think it's so cool what technology has done, but she has a home to go back to. And unfortunately, she's been fighting insurance for everything, and she's now getting a bill for 45% of all the care that she's received since this accident. And I'm sure you can guess how devastating that is. She's cashed in her retirement to pay for this, but it's wrong on so many levels. So I appreciate you putting this on your agenda. And like Brian said, if you have any questions, we're here. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard from the public? Seeing none, we will close public participation. Next item on the agenda is appointment interviews. Brownfield Redevelopment Authority executive appointment with board concurrence, 4 vacancies, 3-year terms to expire on 9/30/2025. I understand we have Bonnie Slater here. Would you like to speak to the board?
Hi, Bonnie McInerney-Slater. I'm sure you guys remember me being here with SMART many times recently. I was on the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority Board previously. I've worked in municipal government for over 21 years. Ironically, I took Denise Pike's position in Mount Clemens when she left. So I don't know, does the board have any questions of me?
I see none, so thank you. I need a motion to refer this to full board. So moved by Commissioner Nart, supported by Commissioner Kraft. Next is Denise Guzman.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the board. I am Denise Pike Guzman, but professionally go by Denise Pike. I am currently the Community Services Director for the City of St. Clair Shores and the staff liaison to their Brownfield Board. As Bonnie mentioned, I was in Mount Clemens many years ago as the Community Development Director there, and at that time actually created or helped to create the Brownfield Board in the City of Mount Clemens, and then went down to the City of Detroit to be a developer for a nonprofit federally qualified health center. So had a great experience using Brownfield tax credits to actually create a new healthcare facility in the City of Detroit. I am honored and humbled to be given this opportunity, and if you accept me, I will gladly serve out my term.
Thank you. Seeing no speakers, thank you.
Thank you.
The other 2 nominees are Dennis Champine. I believe he's the city manager in Centerline, and Brandon Jonas, who could not attend. Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Chair, I did want to say, I go to the St. Clair Shores meetings, and I see Denise Pike there often in explaining things that she does on the shores, and she knows a lot.
Well,
She knows
thank you
a lot.
for
She has
that
a
part.
big responsibility there, and yeah, she knows a lot. Thank you very much. There.
Thank you. Please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, once I can hit the button, there, is meeting dates. We need a motion to schedule the organizational meeting for Thursday, January 12th, 2023 at 3 p.m. and then a full board meeting on Thursday, January 26th, 2023 at 3 p.m. So I need a motion.
Support Van Sickle.
I have a motion by Nard, supported by Commissioner Van Sickle. And why is my screen gone dark? Oh, you raised your hand? Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Chair, I just wanted you to know that I have absolutely no problem with these dates. Thank you.
If I would have known that, I would have dismissed recognizing you. Anyone else? Seeing no other speakers, please vote. I'm going to miss that. Did we have the vote recorded?
Or if you want a voice vote. Okay. Motion passes 13-0.
Receive and file. Motion by Romano, supported by Commissioner Wallace. It's all yours, Crystal.
Hi, so I'm here to talk to you about our office budget. I just have a quick PowerPoint that is just going to touch on a few of the things in the supplemental worksheet and then talk about our budget for next year. So some of the goals last year was to increase our reach to the public, and we have a new website that is easier to navigate, and we have increased our social media following cumulatively through the 3 different social media channels by 20%, and then we are seeing a lot of increases on YouTube with our meeting videos. I thought this was a good reflection of the status of your legislative duties. The board has acted on 342 agenda items through the October full board, which puts you about 10 ahead of where you were last year at that time. This is what that looks like monthly, so it's pretty even. In addition to the action you take at meetings, I have the programs the board's involved in. We have the Casual Day program. We do the volunteer recognition every year. The board just honored the 4th annual Pat Daniels Veteran of the Year. We have the Green Schools program, Yoga at the Hill. We do the Guide to Government Services book, which a new edition will be coming out early next year. The new program we created this year that will kick off next year is Student Government Day. Friday is our 2nd annual, since the revival, Tri-County Summit, so hopefully we will see most of you there. And something we started working on this year was, and a little bit last year, an email contact list. We have over 10,000 contacts that we maintain and that receive the different newsletters and things that the board sends out. You will see our budget didn't really change much from last year. We didn't increase anything, just the normal increase in the personnel. For 2023, Chair Brown and I have been talking about different ideas for the office. We are asking the board to amend the budget to increase the contract services to $250,000 total. This would put extra money in the budget for any unexpected issues that arise. If we needed any extra money for legal advice, if you wanted to exercise your auditing power a little bit further. We have been looking at different software solutions that could improve the office, such as different ones for constituent management. Civic Clerk has a variety of products they offer that would tie into what we use with our Civic Clerk, so we've been looking at those. We would bring any of those requests to the board for approval, but it would be helpful to have that money in the budget if we did find something. And that would also help us address challenges and risks that are identified on your supplemental worksheet. In addition to this, we do have a vacant position. We've had it for years, so we want to look at filling that too. So that money's already there. The position's been budgeted for. We just want to look at filling that. And that's all I have. I just kept it short and thought I would answer any other questions you had.
staff for such a wonderful job that you guys have been doing the past year. I appreciate it very much. Actually, I have a comment regarding the yoga at the Hill. I did receive feedback from some of the attendees, and they loved it. They did mention about having it, maybe twice a year. And then the other feedback that I got that I want to share is that the people in the back weren't able to hear the speaker in the front. And so they requested maybe having more speakers so that everybody could sort of hear what was being said. So that's the feedback about the yoga on the Hill. I enjoyed every year. My kids do too. I think this past year they didn't have the kids session, so I would love to have that come back so that my kids could participate. Regarding the emails, do you know what the open rate is, or could you provide that?
I
from
do have
Hunch?
it, and I looked the other day when I was pulling these stats, but I can't remember off the top of my head what it was, so I can provide that for
Was
sure.
it like 50% or less or more?
I think it was just under 50%.
Okay. And then this particular budget, like all the other ones, even though it's our budget, it's the recommendation from the executive's office, correct? So the request that you shared is the additional 52,000
Yes.
for contracts.
Yes.
Okay. And then my last question is regarding the conferences. What are we at right now for 2022?
I think we're right around 16,000 of the 20,000 of
Okay.
that line item. I just went through those this morning.
And you don't anticipate we're going to use that up because we're basically at the end of the year now, right?
Right. There's
Okay.
nothing left this year.
Well, I want to put it out there. I mean, I really love going to all the MAC conferences and anything that we, can attend. And I think that, as commissioners, we should all try to attend more of these often. I know which ones are there, like Commissioner Van Sickle, and those that are not. I think we should take advantage of that wherever we can. And so I just, and in the past, I've heard that not a lot of commissioners have attended. So I think we've had more attendance this term than any other term. So I would put that out there. And at the rate that we're going, I don't think that we would exceed the 20,000. But if commissioners started to, want to go to conferences and training, then I think that number will probably have to be relooked at. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Thank you, Chair. I haven't submitted a budget amendment. I briefly talked to Kyle about. I would like to see the board in the new year get its own lobbying firm. I don't think it would have to cost as much as the county lobbying firm because we're not lobbying on all the things that happen in the departments. They have regular meetings with the county exec's office with respect to that. It would be a smaller role, I think, periodic emails to let us know things that are introduced in Lansing that directly affect us, as well as maybe coming in once a quarter to talk to us. So I don't know what kind of money that would take. I would like to see us get our legal down in cost and maybe use Corp Counsel a little bit more often on some things so that we could cover that. But I want to remind everybody, we didn't hear a word about 4-year terms for county commissioners from the lobbyist. And back with the drain board, when it was directly changed to affect every commissioner, and we were the only commission in the state that was being affected, it was a law that applied specifically to us and nobody else. We did not hear anything about that. I believe the role of the county lobbyist is to work very closely with the county exec's office and to lobby for things that directly affect the departments and the way the counties run. And so I don't have any problem with that. I think that there's probably a lot of communication there. This is a different type of role that I'm talking about. I think when there's legislation that directly affects county commissions, our county ought to know about it, and I would hear about it sometimes through the Michigan Association of Counties, but we didn't hear about it here in any other capacity. So I don't know. I don't want to put in any more than what you're asking for. I'd like to find a way to get the legal costs down to cover it, but I just want the incoming board to consider that. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Farrington.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to concur with Commissioner Kleinfeld. When I asked about it almost 2 years ago, I said I didn't really think it was needed. One, we had someone on the board that was working for someone in leadership. Someone else is married, was to a state representative. And that's where we heard a lot of this stuff that a lobbyist should be telling us. Well, both those positions are no longer there. And while Commissioner Kleinfeld might, send some information our way once in a while, that's not going to be her future responsibility. And we don't always concur with the administration on what's happening in Lansing. There are things that directly affect this board that we were accidentally or purposely shut out from knowing. And I concur we need to get it. You do not have to have as big of a name, but you do have to have someone that serves this board. And I won't be around one way or the other, but I would think that's something you guys need to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Song, second round.
Thank you, Chair. I would echo that too, Commissioner Kleinfeld. I think that's important, and if you decide to bring forth that amendment, I would support it. I think everything that you said is valid. With the lobbying, that would still fall under contracts and services though, right? And the legal, is that correct? So it would all be in the same line item. Is that something that this open position could take on? And do we have a subscription to Mirrors or Gongwer? Because we've been getting those emails from them, but they're not really relevant, and they're not really tailored to our county.
No, we don't currently have a subscription. They're kind of expensive, but some of the different software we're looking at, they have packages that include tracking the different legislation. So we could look at ways to fit it in with like the new staff person, or adding that and shifting duties so that someone on staff could do that. There would be options to use those funds to do that.
Okay. Yeah, if you could get the pricing for, even if it's not both, if it's just the Mirrors one, because I read that one a lot, I think that would be beneficial, because then we could set up alerts for Macomb County, or, follow certain bills. And I don't know what this current open positions job duties would be, but if we plan on hiring someone, I think that they could take on that task of alerting us about bills, as opposed to us going the lobbying route. Long term, though, I think that would be important for us to do, instead of relying on the current one, and they're not really working for us at all. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Matuzak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to make sure I understood what you said. We currently have this open position. You're proposing that we fill this position. That position was the communications specialist. Does that mean if we fill that position, we're cutting our contract with the PR firm?
Well, not necessarily. I think we were looking at ways to add to what we currently do in the office, not replace what they are doing.
All right, so the money we took, if I remember this correctly, it's because we had this open position and we needed the services provided, and we sort of moved the money to hire this service, this PR firm, and now we're actually adding back a person while keeping the PR firm.
We actually had 2 PR positions in our budget last year.
Okay.
And then when we restructured to hire the new people, we eliminated one so we could have a technology position. So that left us with the one. We did contract out some of those services with Humphrey. As you know, that's not full-time. They're not here doing everything. We would look at ways to use that position to offset what Humphrey can't do and what else we can add to the office. So we did have 2 positions. There was a lot more to that than just the one position that shifted over. We always had money in contract services that we used for them, that we used to contract out for budget time. Mm-hmm. But that was a reclassification of one of our other positions that now helps with that full-time. So.
All right, thank you. I just needed clarification on that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Song.
Last time, I promise. Thank you, Chair. So Commissioner Matuzak, if I remember correctly, the hunch-free contract is about $40,000, and that was probably half of what, so we were saving money, supposedly, as opposed to hiring a full-time communications person. That makes sense. For this open position, what would be the salary range then?
The vacant position we have currently, actually I have it right here. It's under the new salary schedule for next year. It will max at 55,000.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Seeing no further speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is Resolution 2022-9134, urging state legislature to amend the Michigan Auto Insurance Reform Act to amend the reimbursement cap for auto accident victims and home health care. Motion to refer to full board.
Matuzak moves.
Motion by, well, we'll give it to Commissioner Matuzak, supported by Commissioner Nard. Any discussion on the resolution? Commissioner Song.
Thank you, Chair. This is a new item, so I can speak right. I was just wondering if I could be added to this resolution. And then we do have a Madam Senator-elect here, and I hope that she'll take this to Lansing with her come January 1, and perhaps this will be one of the first items that the legislature will address. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Assuming it passes full board, any of those that would like to be added to their names to the resolution, please notify Kyle. Commissioner Zinner.
Thank you. I believe on there, it does include, if it passes, and if it would, that we have it to include people from 2019, correct? The wording is such?
Yes.
It goes back to 2019.
Yes.
Yeah, when the gentleman spoke, I thought it was now, but I thought that I read that. Thank you. Yes, I would like to be included too. I'm glad we're doing this. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Yeah, I think that's because there was a court ruling with respect to those that it affected that were prior to that. Just to put on everybody's radar, going in, there are legislators that have had agendas for a long time. It's been 38 years since my party has controlled the Senate. And so my intent going in, just to let everybody know, because I am getting contacted by a lot of people, is let's deal with what everybody kind of agrees moving forward. And then I've got 4 years and I'm going to be looking, this is one of the things that's on my radar. It's just if it's not introduced January 1, it's because there's a whole lot of people that have been waiting in line to introduce some other things. And I don't want to introduce it at a time where it would get lost anyway. So just to let you know that. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Chair Brown.
Thank you. We're glad you'll be there, Veronica, to champion many causes, and this one is definitely most worthy. It's really, the legislation is criminal almost, because how can the state violate contracts? People signed auto insurance policies, they paid premiums. That was a contract they had for services, and unilaterally wipe it free and is unconscionable. And so I totally support the resolution and hope that the legislature takes this up and corrects the wrong. We can't wait too long. There's families every day suffering with the flaw in the legislation, as well intended as it was. They just need to fix it, and let's not wait too long. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Seeing no further Speakers, please vote. I was waiting to see if Maya was jumping in.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is correspondence, Older Adult Advisory Committee memo from OAAC Chair Julie Matuzak, the Community Emergency Preparation Discussion. Motion to receive and file and share with county departments.
Matuzak moves.
I have a motion by Commissioner Matuzak, supported by Commissioner Nart. Would you like to speak to that, Commissioner Matuzak?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've spoken to this a number of times since this happened, and this is the result of discussions and information collecting. And let's pass this on to all of the appropriate people and see if we can't improve our emergency preparedness by making sure that senior citizens who may not have access to smartphones, or even the folks that have access to smartphones, are really signed up for notifications. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for your persistence with this. Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is our second of 2 public hearings. You may wish to speak to any issue for a maximum of 3 minutes. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? I kind of guessed it was you.
I know, right? Thank you, Commissioners, and thank you, Chair Brown, for your commentary in terms of keeping this moving. Certainly respect Senator-elect Kleinfeld and what I think was last meeting, future Madam President, if I recall.
That was Joe.
But Chair Brown is correct. So many families that, as April described, are in similar situations that are not able to receive care at home despite having bought a contract and bought a policy as a part of their care and auto insurance. Again, we believe Legislature had good intention to give drivers choices, that those now that don't want to buy health care as a part of that policy don't have to, which is okay. But to the Chair Brown point, we do believe time is of the essence, and thank you for passing it through this committee today, and looking forward to getting hopefully the full board's approval next week. Yeah, the sad thing is a lot of these families won't have a Christmas or Thanksgiving like the rest of us because they're going to be, again, not home. So, again, appreciate all of your advocacy and the time it's taken and the time we've taken to get to know each of you. And I'm sure this won't be the last time we cross paths on this topic or another. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to be heard?
I don't want to be one up.
I hesitated.
You did. Thank you. Leading on what Brian had said, there are so many, I'm a respiratory therapist by trade, so it's not just the elderly that need the home care, right? We have babies at home on vents, hurt post-2019, that thankfully we still have them on our service. Otherwise, I'm not sure what the moms and dads would do. Some have had to move in with grandparents, quit their jobs. It's just that snowball effect of financially. It's not even talking about, all the appointments they have for their child, and there's no transportation now for people to get to and from therapy sessions. It's just, there's so much. It's more than just a nurse coming into the home. It's all encompassing for them in their lives. So thank you for realizing how important it is, and we love that you care. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to be heard? Seeing none, we'll close public participation. Next item on the agenda is commissioners' comments. Commissioner Song.
Thank you, Chair. Regarding the Older Adult Advisory Committee, being that Commissioner Matuzak is resigning today, is there another meeting next month? And who would preside over that, since she is the chairperson?
Good question.
I'll be appointing it, but I'll be reaching out to one of you to make the appointment to chair that committee. Haven't made that decision yet. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I
Thank you, Chair.
recommend Commissioner Matuzak. Nice, nice try. Commissioner Wallace.
Thank you, Chair. Real quick, it's going to be very cold on Saturday, guys. I looked it up, and I am so sorry. But thank you in advance for showing up, for all of you that will be there to walk in this parade. I appreciate it. Bring your candy. I have extra bags if you don't feel like going to the store. I did purchase candy this time. And if you need me to supply gloves, I mean, I can grab you some gloves, too. Saturday, we're going to have a good time. Thank you.
Antoinette, you got to recommend warmer days. Got to happen. Commissioner Nard.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to say to the three individuals regarding the resolution here. My two daughters work in home care with those patients, so I understand exactly what you're talking about. They lost a lot of clients because they could no longer take care of them. They had to go to, nursing homes. And it's not only just the elderly, it's young people too, that they had some in their 20s that got into car accidents that pay their premiums. Also, my brother and his wife are both respiratory therapists. They work from Genesee County all the way to Washtenaw County. So they understand this very well, and I had to go out to get the call. They wanted to make sure that I said something to you guys about that. So, yeah, I'm with you all the way on that, and I pray that that they rectify this.
Thank you. Seeing no other comments? Next.
I'm on my broom already.
Oh. That's going to be a classic. That was stricken from the record, I believe. Next item is closed session. Closed session to discuss privileged confidential memo from Corp Counsel dated September 3rd, 2022, and confidential attorney-client privilege memo from independent counsel dated September 12th, 2022. John Shepka, Corp Counsel, Pete Webster, independent counsel, in closed session to discuss USDC by Commissioner Van Sickle, supported by Commissioner Farrington. 18CV 10082, motion to recommend to full board.
So moved, Romano.
Support Van Sickle.
I have a motion from Romano, supported by Van Sickle. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, please vote. I'm doing this begrudgingly. Okay, we've already had commissioners' comments. Next item is motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Somebody's got to support that.
Can staff read the vote for
Pardon
the
me?
last item?
Motion
We
passed
need to vote.
12-1, Commissioner Song voting no.
Still motion to adjourn.
Oh, now a motion to adjourn. Who was second?
Support. Yes, sir.
Motion to adjourn by Romano, supported by everybody. Please vote. See you all again tomorrow.
Yep, that's right. Hope everybody spoke with them.
Motion
What's your
passes 13-0.
problem over there?